This is an upscale residential neighborhood. What are you doing here?
We live in that high rise over there. This area isn't for people like you.
I ran into my ex, who cheated on me with a rich, young woman, and they both looked down on me again.
You're still plain and poor looking. By the way, my salary is $100,000.
Your salary is $100,000. That must be tough.
The unexpected reply came from my husband. My name is Sarah Johnson. I'm 28 and work for a ceramics company. It all started when we visited a pottery market during a family trip in middle school. Now, it has turned into my job. While I'm happy to have turned my passion into my profession, I've thought being single might not be so bad. But life is unpredictable. You never know what kind of encounters you might have. I participated in a pottery market and ended up dating David, who I met there and works for an event company.
Sarah likes her work and puts a lot of effort into it, so she respects my job too. I feel I can build a secure home with Sarah.
He said that, and since I had no intention of quitting my job, I thought we could manage well even after getting married. David often travels to event locations for work and is busy on weekends. Likewise, I sometimes have to work on weekends due to the pottery studio schedule. It's unavoidable that we can't meet on days off or sometimes cancel plans at the last minute. As a good-natured person, I noticed something wrong with him too late. David was increasingly canceling our plans for work and not showing up for wedding meetings. He stopped answering my calls. One day, after my business meeting, as I was heading to the station, I saw David across the street. It was a coincidence. I could go straight home today and wanted to have dinner with him after a long time. Thinking this, I ran after him as soon as the traffic light turned green. David, are you done with work? Can we go together? Next to David was a tall, beautiful woman with long legs, and they both turned around simultaneously. Moreover, the woman's arm was firmly entwined with David's.
Hey Sarah, what are you doing here? What a coincidence.
I just finished my work meeting nearby. Are you still working? And who is this lady? It didn't seem like he was working, but I asked calmly. I knew his job involved interacting with many event hostesses and models.
Well, this is Maria, a fashion model.
Hello.
She smiled at me warmly. She was stylish and cute, so she's a model, I thought. So it must be a professional relationship with David. I felt somewhat relieved. I didn't like seeing them arm in arm the whole time, but maybe that's normal for someone in her line of work. Hello, I am his fiancée, Sarah Johnson. I greeted her, and David made a face like he had swallowed a bitter bug, while Maria compared our faces and then burst into laughter.
Is this your fiancé? Ahaha, oh no, what a coincidence.
Coincidence?
I told you to hurry up. Now's the time, make it clear right here.
Nodding to her upward glance, he looked at me.
Well, Sarah, I'm dating Maria.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, but cancel our engagement. I'm going to marry Maria.
Wait, what are you saying, David?
We met at a festival event and felt it was destiny right away.
That's right. David really pursued me, saying he'd break up with his girlfriend.
She spoke nonchalantly.
So that's how it is. Thanks for everything until now.
Wait, David. Let's talk this over properly.
But there's nothing more to talk about.
What do you mean by that?
My mind is made up. Maria, as you can see, is cute, stylish, and just awesome. She's only 24, young, and comes from a wealthy family.
It's just that my dad is the CEO.
So, I'm going to marry Maria and become her family's son-in-law.
Are you quitting your job? I thought you liked your current job.
It's what Maria wants, and it pays better. Please cancel our wedding venue. Don't worry, I'll pay for the cancellation since it's my responsibility.
David, you're amazing.
I just want to be with Maria as soon as possible.
Wow, you're so cool.
I nearly collapsed but managed to hold myself up. It was clear, no matter what I said, it was useless. She was right. David was more crazy about her. I understand. I managed to squeeze out the words, I must not cry yet. I don't want to cry in front of these people.
Well, see you around. Keep working hard, getting dirty with the clay.
What's that supposed to mean?
They walked away arm in arm, laughing. 2 years had passed since I broke up with David, and I turned 30, still dedicated to my work. Now, I have no regrets about that man. In fact, I consider myself lucky that I didn't end up with a cheating spouse after marriage. I felt energized when the pottery I designed came out of the kiln. There was someone who noticed me in this state. It was John, a craftsman at the pottery studio I've been working with for years. I thought his mind was filled with nothing but pottery. I was surprised when he invited me to dinner and confessed his feelings on the third occasion. I respected him as a craftsman and was honestly delighted. However, carrying a significant trauma, I was hesitant to step into a relationship again. So I shared everything with him. I had announced my engagement at work and to the pottery community, so he knew about the broken engagement. He listened quietly and then gave me his usual gentle smile.
That must have been tough.
Yes, it was.
Actually, I was shocked when I heard you were getting married. But I thought it was natural for someone as wonderful as you to have a partner, and I blamed myself for not making a move.
Excuse me? It was an unexpected revelation.
When you forced a smile, saying your engagement was called off, I wanted to support you immediately, but I thought you needed time. I wanted you to keep making good pottery to help cheer you up.
Have you been thinking about me for that long?
And I might look it, but I'm quite popular.
What?
Maybe because my grandfather is wealthy. I've been approached by very beautiful women and have dated some, but I never felt thrilled by them. I enjoy working with clay much more.
Is that so? He spoke earnestly and straightforwardly, not bragging or joking. As I found this aspect of him intriguing, he looked at me intently.
Sarah, you're the first person I've ever wanted to make happy.
While feeling a chuckle rising, my heart warmed up. I thought to myself, I'll be fine with him, and naturally said, I'm happy. Thank you. A year later, John and I got married. Everyone at the company and the pottery studio congratulated us. To keep working, we initially lived in 2 places. One was near the pottery studio, close to his family home. I had heard his grandfather was wealthy, but I was amazed by the size of their mansion. We live in a part of it. We've discussed eventually leaving my job to work together at the studio and live there full time. The other place is an apartment near my company in downtown. The apartment still needs more furniture, so today we went to a nearby interior design shop. That's where the unexpected encounter happened. Not a pleasant one. As we were looking at sofas, a voice from behind said,
Is it Sarah, the plain woman there?
You're David. More than 3 years had passed, but I could not forget him. My ex-fiance David stood there with his wife, the model Maria. I knew they had married, as she had been flaunting it on social media and magazines. Yet, Maria seemed less charming than before, her expression harder, or maybe just different. I've also noticed she's been less visible in the media recently. David was smirking, but his face seemed to lack vitality.
This is an upscale residential neighborhood. What are you doing here?
Oh, do I need a permit to shop in an upscale area?
You don't live around here, do you? This store is expensive, not for someone like you.
Exactly. You still look plain and poor, just like your beloved Clay.
I didn't expect an apology for the past, but I was tired of his condescending attitude.
Right? If a tacky person like you comes here, it degrades the store. People might think we are poor too.
Did you come all the way here? By the way, our home is in that famous high-rise over there.
And it's on the 25th floor.
Their bragging annoyed me, but responding would be a waste of time. I remained silent. Not liking my attitude, David continued.
You still love pottery, huh? You look as poo as ever. By the way, I make $100,000.
He moved into that tower for me, working as my father's son-in-law.
$100,000. That must be tough.
What? The sudden speaker was John. I was so surprised that I echoed his sentiment.
I'm a little worried about you.
Hey, who is this guy?
David noticed my husband and asked.
Nice to meet you. I'm John Smith. It seems my wife, Sarah, used to know you.
The couple looked shocked for a moment, but then smirked at my husband.
Wow, you got married. Well, a perfect match for plain folks like you.
He is such a spaced-out person. Didn't even notice him here.
What's with that must be tough anyway?
David glared at John.
Because you live on the 25th floor of that tower, and your income is $100,000, right?
That's right. My income is $100,000.
David popped up.
Seeing you all decked out in brand names, I can't help but worry. No offense.
Are you mocking me? Just because you're poor doesn't mean you can make irrelevant remarks. Sadly for you, I'm not having any trouble.
Is that so? Your wife doesn't look too well, though. Everything all right?
Hey, Miria, what's wrong?
Nothing. I'm okay.
You wouldn't understand. A number like $100,000 is out of your league. What about you, making $10 an hour?
No, I'm not on an hourly wage. I'm not employed in the traditional sense. I stay at home.
So, you're unemployed. Sarah got married only to be someone's cash cow.
Wait, that's not right.
Please don't insult my precious Sarah.
A freeloader husband has to defend his wife, I guess.
You're jobless and yet so weird.
They continued to look down on us, misunderstanding the situation.
Sarah, let's go. We shouldn't bother with these people who have no future.
Yes, let's leave. John took my hand, and we walked away from there.
Pathetic losers. Don't come around here anymore.
Don't pretend to be locals.
We live in the President Tower.
As my husband responded, the two burst into laughter.
Don't lie because you're so upset.
Everyone knows the name because it's super famous. The highest around here. No way a jobless person could live there.
Ignoring their loud laughter, we walked away. I can't believe we met them here. I'm so sorry, John. While walking, I apologized to him.
Perhaps it was rude of me to worry about their finances upon our first meeting. This is why people say I can't read between the lines.
Maybe. I almost burst out laughing at my always serious husband's comment. Clearly, they were the rude ones. But living so close in that tower is annoying. What if we keep running into them? Our apartment was nearby. Their tower was one of our options, but I was really glad we chose differently. John reassured me.
Don't worry, they won't be there for long.
Why?
Isn't that woman's family wealthy? Do you know their name?
I do, but confused by what he meant, I just stared. A few days later, as my husband and I were leaving the entrance, we heard a sudden voice.
Seriously, you really live here?
David and his wife appeared before us, and my eyes widened. Why are you here?
Help us.
What's the matter?
I'm being kicked out of that tower
Oh, why is that?
because of unpaid rent.
You haven't paid the rent? Well, that's understandable then. This really had nothing to do with us.
Wait, they were patient with the payments until now, but suddenly they can't wait anymore, all because of your husband.
Now Maria was the one shouting. How is that my husband's fault?
When I heard the name Smith, I realized your husband owns our tower.
She was visibly frustrated, her face turning red.
It's not me, but my father.
What?
It was originally owned by my grandfather, but I think it's in my father's name now. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
The management company said if we don't pay up, they'll proceed with eviction.
That's only natural. It's not a charity.
What?
That's why I said it must be tough on a $100,000 income.
What do you mean?
David exclaimed.
With a $100,000 income for a couple, you could live quite comfortably under normal circumstances. But the rent for the 25th floor there is $5,000 a month. Surely you didn't forget to include taxes in your calculations.
Taxes?
Besides, you both love your brand goods. It's crazy not to be in financial trouble.
Maria, you were the one who wanted to live there. When did the rent get behind?
We have a social circle in that high rise. Luxury lunches, spa treatments, bags, jewelry. You need to have nice things or you won't be accepted.
You could simply not associate with such people.
I know it.
Is keeping up appearances so important that you'd go into debt for it?
Debt?
David raised his voice. He was genuinely shocked. Didn't he notice anything?
What do you mean we have unpaid rent and debts?
That's the thing. It's tough being at the top among the high floors. As a model, I can afford to look shabby.
There's hardly any modeling work for you now.
Well, yes, but
So that was it. No wonder I hadn't seen her around lately. The industry seems tough, with new, young faces constantly coming in. As I murmured, Maria glared at me fiercely.
shut up, you plain woman.
Damn it, Maria, you said you'd handle the finances, and you didn't even pay the rent.
David confronted Maria angrily. Her family is wealthy, right? You always boasted about it. Why not ask them for help? I said with a hint of sarcasm.
But her family's business has been struggling since last year, and they can't afford it.
What are you?
That's why you couldn't pay the rent, right? Maybe until now her family was helping out.
Why do you know about my dad's company?
Because my grandfather is the chairman of the Smith Group.
Seriously, the Smith Group.
So, you're a real rich man.
David muttered in amazement.
My father's company used to have dealings with yours, but not anymore.
John continued calmly.
My grandfather owns many apartments, both domestically and internationally.
Then you should have said that when we met last time.
One doesn't boast about such things. It's vulgar.
What? Are you trying to get back at me?
I didn't intend that, but it seems to have worked out that way.
That's infuriating.
Sorry about that.
Don't apologize.
It was almost like a comedy sketch. As I nearly laughed at their rapid exchange, Maria snapped.
But that's not your money, right? You're just living off your grandfather's wealth.
I set the record straight. John is a renowned potter.
What?
Some customers wait months for his ceramics. While creating high-demand items, He also produces affordable pieces at the pottery studio, and they sell out online.
Really?
My husband has never depended on his grandfather's money. Don't lump him with you.
Though he has said he would help us if we ever needed it.
John grinned, then turned serious again to address the couple.
Normally, rent overdue for 3 months leads to contract termination and eviction, and if unpaid, forced eviction follows in another 2 to 3 months. That's also stated in your tower's contract, right?
Maybe.
They waited 5 months because they believed Maria's story.
What do you mean?
I heard that her husband is sick and has lost his income, so she was crying for the rent to wait.
What, Maria? What the hell are you doing?
But it was a lie, and there were debts from lavish spending. I've reported this to my father and grandfather.
Why do you know about my debts?
David was pale-faced, and Maria was nearly in tears.
I looked into it myself.
John said nonchalantly,
I knew about the past from Sarah. We are happy now, and meeting them again was just a coincidence.
So what's the problem then?
But what did you say to Sarah upon this reunion? No apology, just looking down and insulting her. I couldn't forgive that.
But
I was genuinely worried about you. Living in that tower on a $100,000 income seemed concerning.
Oh no.
It's good that you found out before incurring more debt.
John said this with a smile, leaving David and Maria speechless.
what's with this air, acting all high and mighty?
I admired his knack for speaking his mind. Yes, he's not being sarcastic. He's just speaking plainly. Is it because he's naturally a scion of a wealthy family, or is it just his personal character? I'm not entirely sure. I think it's more likely the latter.
Hey Sarah, help me out, please. I'll apologize.
Right? If you ask him, he'll surely help, won't he?
Their sudden change of attitude was startling. Absolutely not. I also smiled sweetly, mimicking my husband. My smile was a bit mischievous. Your debt is none of my business.
Exactly. Let's go, Sarah.
Wait, don't go.
Don't cut us off with a smile like that.
Ignoring their cries, I walked away hand in hand with my husband. Eventually, David and Maria were evicted from the tower. Maria's father paid the overdue rent, but in return, she was disowned. Her family's business was in dire straits, and David's income had also decreased. Furious at her for wasting money just for show, her parents demanded she repay the borrowed rent and the debt they covered before returning home. Disillusioned, David was considering divorce, partly blaming his own indulgence and financial negligence. Maria, it turned out, had secretly borrowed money from dubious sources, now pursued by shady debt collectors. Meanwhile, my husband and I were discussing the next designs for our new pottery series, well received in the market. Items for family use, for partners to share, and for personal relaxation time. We want to gradually expand our range to accompany each aspect of life.
Sarah, what do you think about the color here? Please take a look.
Sure. I dream that one day, our future children will also enjoy meals on the pottery my husband makes. Today, in our beloved studio, we are surrounded by the scent of clay.